Locked doors, border checkpoints, police with the power to deport. No, this isn't another country. It's the new face of immigration in parts of the United States. So why are some states going further than ever before to intensify enforcement on undocumented immigrants? Is it about security or politics? What happens when schools start turning away kids? Or hospitals ask for your immigration status before treating you? In 2025, the rules are changing fast. And some states aren't just tightening the law, they're rewriting it completely. A lot has happened in the world, and today we're going to delve into these developments. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel and hit the like button. It's incredibly important for helping us grow and reach more viewers. Also, drop a comment below telling us where you're watching from. We'll be drawing conclusions at the end of this video, so stick around. From Texas to Florida, here are the 10 U.S. states cracking down hardest on illegal immigration. Number 10, Texas. A place where the border isn't just a line, it's a battleground. In 2025, one state is making headlines for taking immigration law into its own hands. Texas has passed Senate Bill 4, a sweeping move that gives local police the power to arrest, and even deport, migrants suspected of entering the country illegally. You'd be shocked how far this legislation goes. It makes being present without papers a criminal offense. Yes, just being there. But guess what? It doesn't stop there. With over 1,200 miles of border with Mexico, Texas is also building new sections of wall on its own dime. Are we watching the rise of a state-run immigration force? One that rivals federal enforcement? The Lone Star State has turned its borders into legal fault lines. Could this be a preview of what other states might do next? Or is Texas writing its own rulebook? Either way, the nation is watching closely. Make sure to watch this video until the end, as we'll be summarizing the key takeaways and drawing important conclusions. Number 9, Florida. In some places, not carrying proof of citizenship could just mean trouble. In this state, it could change your entire life. Florida, under new laws passed in 2025, has tightened the screws in a way that's leaving even longtime residents nervous. Hospitals now ask your immigration status before admitting you. Employers, they're required to use E-Verify or risk massive fines. And if you're undocumented and caught driving, even with a license from another state, it's automatically invalid. But guess what? That's not even the most shocking part. Local law enforcement can now detain anyone they suspect is in the country illegally. No federal agents required. Thousands have already left, afraid of what one traffic stop could mean. Is this enforcement? Or is it fear? Or is it? As policies intensify, many are asking, is this the future of immigration law across America, starting in Florida? Number 8, Oklahoma. No border, no coastline, just heartland highways, prairie skies, and immigration laws that are raising eyebrows nationwide. In 2025, this state stunned the country with a bill that goes further than many states along the U.S.-Mexico border. Oklahoma has made it a state crime to live within its borders without legal immigration status. You'd be shocked. Just existing in the state without papers could now land someone in jail. But it gets more intense. Under House Bill 4156, anyone without lawful presence who's arrested for any reason can face criminal charges for their immigration status alone. After serving their sentence, they're ordered to leave the state within 72 hours. Refuse or fail to do so, you could face additional jail time. No federal agents required, no ICE involvement. This is state-led enforcement in its rawest form. And if you're thinking this law is just for show, think again. Local authorities are already preparing implementation plans. County jails? They're adjusting protocols. Community groups? Sounding alarms. Even sheriffs have admitted this changes their entire approach to policing. Suddenly, a simple traffic stop could lead to deportation proceedings without ever calling Washington. But guess what? This isn't happening quietly. Legal challenges are already moving forward. Civil rights groups argue it violates federal authority. Oklahoma's response? They say the state is simply protecting its residents and filling in the gaps where federal enforcement falls short. Why here? Why now? Many believe it's political momentum. Oklahoma is one of several Republican-led states reshaping local immigration policy to reflect national debates. But critics say the cost may be too high. Growing fear, fractured families, and tension between communities and law enforcement. And here's a wild twist. Oklahoma's immigrant population is relatively small, less than 6% of the total. But this new law, it's among the toughest in the nation. Could it be a blueprint for other states far from the border to follow? Or will legal pushback stop it in its tracks? Either way, what's happening in Oklahoma is no longer a side story. It's a new front line. Number 7. Tennessee. One moment, your child is getting ready for school. The next, they're turned away at the door. Not because of grades or behavior, but because they can't prove legal U.S. residency. This is not a headline from the past. This is 2025, and it's happening in Tennessee. You'd be stunned at how far the new legislation goes. Lawmakers recently passed a bill that allows public schools to deny enrollment to students who can't prove lawful presence. In a country where education was once considered a right for all children, Tennessee is now testing the limits of that principle. The ripple effects? Massive. But it doesn't stop there. School officials can now charge tuition to children of undocumented parents. For many families, especially those working low-income jobs, this means education is no longer a guaranteed part of their child's future. The message is clear. If you can't prove you're here legally, don't expect the same rights. You might ask, how did we get here? It traces back to long-running debates about Plyler versus Doe, the 1982 Supreme Court decision that said states must educate all children, regardless of immigration status. Tennessee's new law openly challenges that ruling. And while it hasn't gone uncontested, civil rights advocates are already fighting it. It marks a dramatic shift in how one state defines access to public education. But guess what? This goes beyond schools. Tennessee has also expanded state-level enforcement partnerships with federal immigration agencies, fast-tracking deportation procedures, and holding people in local jails for ICE pickup. In counties like Davidson and Rutherford, that coordination has doubled over the past year. And here's something most people don't realize. Tennessee has seen a rapid increase in its immigrant population, especially in urban hubs like Nashville and Memphis. But instead of welcoming integration, this legislation is driving fear into classrooms and households. What happens when children stop showing up to school? Not because they don't want to learn, but because their families are afraid. What kind of future does that create? That's what Tennessee is testing now. And whatever happens next, it's going to ripple far beyond the state line. Number 6. Georgia. Bustling airports, towering skylines, thriving industries. But underneath the hum of progress, one southern state is tightening its grip in ways that have drawn national attention. Georgia has taken bold, controversial steps in 2025 to enforce immigration laws with a toughness that's rattling communities and even dividing local officials. You'd be shocked at how deep the laws go. Under House Bill 87, a piece of legislation that's been compared to Arizona's infamous SB 1070, police are empowered to investigate immigration status during routine stops. That means one broken taillight could lead to detainment. For some residents, everyday errands now come with fear of deportation. And it's not just law enforcement. Employers face harsh penalties for hiring undocumented workers, with state audits ramping up this year. E-Verify checks, mandatory for nearly all businesses with 10 or more employees. Penalties for violations include loss of business licenses, shutting down operations entirely. But guess what? That's only scratching the surface. Local jails are required to check the immigration status of every person booked. In counties like Gwinnett and Cobb, collaboration with federal agencies has surged. Deportation numbers? Up significantly. And it's creating a chilling effect, even for immigrants who are here legally. And here's something that might surprise you. Georgia is home to over 1 million immigrants, with more than 400,000 undocumented. In cities like Atlanta, they make up the lifeblood of industries from construction to hospitality. But now, many are packing up and leaving. Schools are reporting declining attendance, Health clinics have noticed a drop in immigrant patients. Why does it matter? Because fear is changing how people live. It's not just about legality. It's about daily survival. What happens when people are too afraid to call the police, report abuse, or even go to work? Georgia is pushing the boundaries of state-level enforcement, and whether it becomes a national model or a cautionary tale remains to be seen. Number 5. Alabama. What if simply being seen in public could put you at risk? In 2025, one state has taken the concept of immigration enforcement and baked it into nearly every part of daily life. Alabama's HB 56 is still making waves years after it was first introduced. And now, it's been revived and reinforced with new teeth. Under these laws, law enforcement officers must check immigration status during any lawful stop if there's reasonable suspicion a person is undocumented. But guess what? That's just the beginning. The law goes even further, making it illegal to give an undocumented immigrant a ride, rent them a home, or even hire them for day labor. You read that right. Everyday acts, things that would be ordinary anywhere else, are criminalized here. But here's what you might not expect. Alabama has some of the strictest immigration-related education laws in the nation. Schools are required to collect the immigration status of every student at enrollment. While students can't be turned away, yet, advocates say the intent is clear: discourage undocumented families from attending public school at all. You'd be shocked at the data. After the law's initial introduction, thousands of students vanished from classrooms within weeks. Businesses saw their workforce shrink overnight. Crops in rural areas rotted in the fields. Now, in 2025, with renewed enforcement, Alabama is doubling down, despite the economic consequences. And don't think these policies exist in the shadows. Alabama's state government has made public announcements boasting of their zero-tolerance approach. In some counties, immigration checkpoints have returned. People report avoiding entire towns. But here's the twist. Despite these tough laws, Alabama has one of the smallest immigrant populations in the country. Less than 4.5% of residents are foreign-born. So why the extreme measures? Many believe it's symbolic, a way to take a stand and send a message. But for those living under these laws, symbolism feels a lot like survival. What happens when fear becomes part of everyday life? When neighbors stop speaking to each other? Alabama is asking those questions right now, and the answers are more unsettling than you'd expect. Number 4. Arizona. Flashbacks to roadside checkpoints, sheriff's deputies questioning passengers, heated protests outside courthouses. This isn't a memory. It's reality again in Arizona. A state once at the center of America's most controversial immigration battles. And now, in 2025, it's turning up the heat once more. You'd be shocked how far the new law goes. Arizona has just reintroduced a measure allowing law enforcement to stop and question individuals about their immigration status during routine encounters. A move that echoes the now infamous SB 1070. But guess what? This time, it's even broader. Officers can now detain anyone suspected of being unlawfully present, even if no other crime was committed. Critics are sounding the alarm, warning it opens the door to profiling. Supporters? They say it's necessary to restore law and order. Either way, the streets of cities like Phoenix and Tucson feel different. And in rural areas near the border, many residents are living in a constant state of hypervigilance. It doesn't stop there. Arizona has expanded employer audits, doubled down on E-Verify, and implemented new ID laws requiring state-issued proof of residency for nearly every public service. Things like housing aid, unemployment benefits, and even some medical assistance. Here's something wild. Although the state's undocumented population has been shrinking for years, enforcement is now harsher than ever. And that's creating real economic consequences. Construction companies, farms, and restaurants report critical labor shortages. The state's housing industry, once booming, is seeing delays due to a lack of skilled workers. But the most unsettling part? Stories are pouring in from citizens and legal residents who say they were questioned or detained based on their appearance or language. It's a chilling reminder of the 2010s, and it's happening again. Is Arizona returning to its old playbook, or rewriting it for a new era? Either way, it's clear. In 2025, immigration enforcement in the Grand Canyon state is no longer just about the border. It's about who belongs and who doesn't. Number 3. Iowa. Rolling farmland, quiet towns. A state you wouldn't expect to be leading the charge on immigration crackdowns. But in 2025, Iowa is doing exactly that, and it's catching a lot of people off guard. You might think immigration enforcement is mostly a border issue. But guess what? Iowa has proven otherwise. This year, the state passed Senate File 2340, a law making it a state crime to be present without lawful status. That's right. People can be arrested, jailed, and ordered to leave, all at the state level, without waiting for federal authorities. You'd be shocked to learn how quickly it's being enforced. Since the law took effect, counties across Iowa have reported a sharp uptick in detentions, especially in areas with large agricultural workforces. In towns like Storm Lake and Marshalltown, which rely on immigrant labor, fear is spreading faster than ever before. But there's more. Under the new law, anyone convicted under these immigration charges faces automatic expulsion from the state. They're given days, not weeks, to leave or face rearrest. And local law enforcement? They're now working more closely with ICE than ever, despite federal lawsuits arguing the law oversteps constitutional limits. Here's what many don't realize. Iowa has one of the fastest-growing immigrant populations in the Midwest. These communities support meatpacking plants, factories, and farms, some of the state's biggest economic drivers. But now, some companies are quietly bracing for impact, unsure how long they can function without that labor force. Even citizens are feeling the ripple effects. Schools are seeing sudden drops in attendance. Health clinics are reporting fewer visits, and religious groups have started organizing underground aid for families afraid to go outside. Why is a state with no international border pushing so hard? Many say it's political momentum. Others say it's fear. But one thing's clear. Iowa is no longer on the sidelines of the immigration debate. It's leading it. Number 2, Louisiana. Think of gumbo, jazz, and bayous, not checkpoints and detention centers. But in 2025, Louisiana has taken a hard turn. This year, lawmakers passed a bill giving local police full authority to detain undocumented immigrants without waiting for ICE. You'd be shocked how fast it's moving. In parishes like Jefferson and Caddo, sheriff's offices are already rolling out specialized immigration task units. And guess what? They're using the same databases and tech once reserved for federal border agents. Community leaders warn it's turning neighbors against each other, while civil rights groups say it encourages profiling. Even local schools and health clinics are being required to report undocumented individuals who seek public assistance. That means fear now follows families into hospitals, schools, even churches. For a state with deep cultural roots in welcoming and hospitality, this new chapter feels colder, harsher, and it's changing the very soul of Louisiana. Number 1, North Carolina. It's known for its beaches, tech hubs, and bluegrass roots. But in 2025, North Carolina is making headlines for something else, aggressively targeting undocumented immigrants in local communities. And the speed? Alarming. Just this year, the state reinstated agreements allowing sheriff's departments to act as immigration enforcers, booking and holding individuals until ICE can arrive. You'd be stunned how many counties, especially in the Piedmont and eastern regions, have signed back on. And it doesn't end there. A new law now bans sanctuary policies statewide. Local governments that refuse to comply with federal immigration detainers, they risk losing state funding altogether. Critics say it's coercion. Officials say it's preserving public safety. But guess what? The fear is real. Families are pulling kids out of school, drivers are skipping work, and entire communities, many who've been here for years, are disappearing into the shadows. North Carolina has changed the rules of the game. 10 states, 10 different crackdowns. But the message? The same. From the South to the Midwest, even far from the border, America is changing how it handles immigration, one law at a time. If you've made it this far, you're not just watching, you're paying attention. And that matters. So, What can we conclude from this nationwide shift? First, the line between federal and state immigration authority is blurring rapidly. States like Texas, Oklahoma, and Iowa are enacting laws that essentially create state-level deportation systems, challenging long-standing federal jurisdiction. This isn't just about enforcing existing laws. It's about creating new ones, often harsher than federal standards, criminalizing mere presence within state borders. Second, the human cost is undeniable and immediate. Fear is becoming a daily reality for immigrant communities, documented or not. We see children missing school, families avoiding essential services like healthcare, and workers vital to local economies disappearing. The ripple effects impact everyone, fracturing communities and creating an atmosphere of distrust between residents and law enforcement. Third, the economic consequences are significant. States implementing the strictest measures, like Alabama and Georgia, have faced labor shortages in key industries like agriculture and construction, sometimes with immediate and visible results like crops rotting in fields. While proponents argue for public safety or upholding the rule of law, the economic disruption is a tangible counterpoint. Fourth, these state actions are deeply intertwined with national politics. Many of these laws reflect broader political debates and serve as signals to a particular voter base, even in states with relatively small immigrant populations like Oklahoma or Alabama, suggesting the motivations extend beyond immediate local concerns. Finally, the legal battles are just beginning. Laws in Texas, Oklahoma, Florida, and Tennessee are already facing court challenges based on constitutional grounds, questioning whether states can usurp federal authority over immigration and whether these laws violate rights guaranteed even to non-citizens, such as the right to education established in Plyler v. Doe. The outcomes of these cases will likely shape the future of immigration policy, not just in these 10 states, but across the entire country. The landscape is shifting, the stakes are incredibly high, and the fundamental questions about who belongs and what rights they possess are being redefined state by state. Thank you for joining us on this deep dive. If you found this informative, please give this video a like, subscribe to our channel for more in-depth analysis, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Where are you watching from, and how are these issues affecting your community? Your engagement helps us continue this important work.